Good evening. It is May 4th, 2018, and something the Sharks did 24 years ago could be happening against them right now. The Sharks are down 3 games to 2 to the first time playoff bound Vegas Golden Knights, and the Sharks are in the Leafs position of that sort to be facing elimination against the new kid in town. Nonetheless, we'll try to break it down.
Lately.
Yes. So, welcome to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. We do this after every game. We appreciate you having us here. I'm Eric Curra. You can always follow me on Twitter at PuckGuy14. If you want to be a part of the show, and that's what this show is all about, live and interactive, join us in the YouTube chat right now on the page or the app. We see a lot of comments coming in already, so we really appreciate that. If you want to hit us on the Twitter machine, do so at Teal Town USA. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Joined by Chris JWS. Evening, sir.
Hey now? Question mark?
I think you're going to get some copyright infringement there.
Yeah, I know AJ might have a lawsuit against me as an infraction there, but we'll get into lawsuits later.
Yeah, we'll touch on to that, but nonetheless, if you are new to this place, by all means, smash that subscribe button down below. Also, hit the bell on the side that notifies you when we go on the air. Tonight was one of those nights where it seems like the Sharks kind of got out to a very slow start, but had a nice finish in the third period, just not enough to get them over the hump. It started very, I don't know, Chris, would you say it was a little tentative in the first period?
It kind of felt a little bit, I hate to say game one because I want to poison the well here, but it felt a little more like a feeling out period. Like there didn't feel like either team had a decided edge. Even up until that goal at the very end of the first period, it kind of just felt like a little bit of feeling, like you guys are feeling each other out again. You've already played 4 games.
Yeah, and it just seemed like it was just a rough start, and I think it was like that feel out process, and I think that everything was going to be okay, but nonetheless, just being right on the right spot at the right time. Hockey Jerk's favorite, James Neal, the real deal, gets a magical rebound right to his stick, buries in the rebound, his third of the playoffs with 3 seconds left in the first. Kind of a backbreaker indeed, makes it 1-0 Vegas. Really nothing anybody can do except for Bodker. That was a bad turnover.
I'm not really going to say that was a backbreaker because I'm not of the belief that 1-0 goals in the first are backbreakers, unlike certain podcasts that we shall not name.
Alrighty. But definitely,
I'm taking a little dig at a certain Vegas podcast that basically said that 1-0 goal last game was like, that was it, man.
But I think that what I mean by is that's a backbreaker to go into the locker room with 3 seconds left. That one hurts as many do with the late periods, like Donskoy's first period goal in Game 4. That one kind of hurt them, and I think it might have taken them off a step a little bit, and it kind of led to the second period being a little bit of a rough go. And I think also the guys weren't really moving their feet too well. They were taking some bad penalties. They were getting indisciplined. And you're right, this was kind of like game one all over again.
I mean, it's a tough thing to go into the locker room on, though. But if anything, though, I mean, it's a 1-0 deficit. Like, I know why 2-0 definitely looks a lot worse, but it's a 1-0 deficit. If anything, it should motivate you to come out of that locker room harder than ever, really. So I don't buy the whole, like, this kills momentum, because momentum is killed period to period anyways. Like, if one team has control, it doesn't necessarily retain control period to period, because everyone cools off for 15, 20 minutes. So I don't think that was really the problem there. And I don't really think it was the moving the feet thing. I mean, there was too many too many turnovers. They let Vegas get rolling. And I've said for a while, the formula for the Sharks to beat Vegas is they have to make Vegas play defense. If they aren't making Vegas play defense, then Vegas can just keep coming and coming. If they have a couple of 50-50 shifts where no one really owns it, that's whatever to them. But if they can get, if out of 8 shifts, if 5 of them go their way and the other 3 are a push and they don't play much defense, that team can get on a roll. And that team can start really hemming you in your own zone and causing a lot of problems. And I think that's what it was, is there wasn't, until the third period, a lot of stretches where the Sharks made them play defense and made them defend their own end.
And for also that matter, didn't they seem a little tentative in that sense where they went back to, rather than getting pucks right away off, shooting the pucks right away, they seemed a little tentative down and early, and it seemed like that kind of got into their game, that crept into their game again, especially in the second period when Vegas got 2 more goals from Alex Tuck and Eric. Where's AJ when you need him? Eric Holla.
Holla.
Yeah, there you go. Tux was on the power play goal.
Holla.
There we go. Thank you.
And can we talk about the bizarre sequence of that power play? Because honestly, that was a little weird to me. Like I said, when the Sharks got their first power play there, I was like, that was a weak call. And then about, a minute and a half later, they put that weak call on Hurdle. I'm like, that's also a weak. Like, are we trying to do weak makeup calls now? You made a weak call one way, you're trying to make up for it the other way? Because I'm sorry, neither of those should have been calls.
Yeah, I'm not sure as to why that was. Either way, I mean, more noticeably because it ended up being effectively being the Knights' goal led off of a power play. But when looking at it, and let me see if I can screenshot this here.
Yeah, this is where you hand it off, let me vamp, rather than tell people what you're going to do, because then it doesn't sound like I'm vamping. Come on, professional grade here, puck guy. Come on.
What an amateur!
Well, why don't you get on then? Come on, bud. Hurry up and get home.
Yeah, you really want
to hear. Well,
anyways, go right ahead, Buckeye.
Anywho, so face-off wins. Hurdle's going to, I guess, try to go after the puck if it was loose. Miller kind of just puts his arm around Hurdle a little bit there, and then they tangle up. They both fall down, and Hurdle falls down, and Hurdle gets called for the interference call, ends up giving up to that goal for Vegas. I mean, let's be honest here. Officiating both ways have been pretty brutal in this series.
This is what I've said when I've heard complaining from Vegas side that, like, oh, the officiating. Like, I agree, the officiating. There's been a lot of weak calls both ways, and there's been a lot of missed calls, a lot of bad calls, and I don't know. And ultimately, their penalty kill had to stop that. Like,
exactly.
At a minute 45, this is one of the better penalty kills in the league all year, and they didn't stop it, and that's where they kind of started losing control of the game, and they didn't really regain control again until mid to late third.
Yeah, and they just lost their composure, and everything just seems like the Vegas got to them, and it made them pay. They were very undisciplined, and it cost them chances to get back into this game earlier. And in the third period, Alex Tuck gets his second of the game from Eakin and Lindbergh to make it 4-0. That's when Deborah pulls Jones and makes way for the birthday boy, Aaron Dell. Well, happy birthday. Welcome to the back to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
4-0.
Yeah, have fun. At 8:36, I mean, yeah, it looked like all was done for this game and everything. Not so fast, my fellow Finn fans. Kevin LeBanc, as the Sharks get a penalty, as Hurdle takes a cross check to the mouth, it looks like, after a phenomenal save. After a phenomenal save from Fleury, they they get on the board. Kevin LeBanc actually shot the puck. This might actually become a thing now. We went from Joe Thornton actually passed it to the net to Kevin LeBanc passed it to the net now. Nice play. Definitely getting Fleury to go side to side again. Again, that seems to be the kryptonite for him. So, Kevin LeBanc, not even a minute after Tuck scores, makes it a 4-1 game. Looked like a promise there. Tomas Hertl, maybe 2 minutes, little over 2 minutes later, his 6th of the playoffs. How dynamite has he been this postseason? From Bodker and Couture to make it 4-2. And that's where I say, so you're telling me there's a chance? And then AJ's favorite forward, Mikkel Bodker, he gets his first of the playoffs. Suddenly, it's a 4-3 game. Yes, 3 teaser goals, folks, at 15:44 from Couture. Couture with 3 assists on the night, 3 assists in that period, for that matter. Apparently, we hear that he went to the locker room early, though, so something might be up with Couture. We'll hope to get some updates on that. But what did you take from the third period, Chris, as the Sharks did look like they made a little bit of an effort after Jones was replaced by Dell?
So I'm going to make the roundabout rocket type analogy here. But, you've watched plenty of Star Wars and Star Trek, how whenever there's like a giant explosion about to happen, you have the blast doors closing or they're coming down or whatever, and they roll under it just in time as the thing explodes behind them and the door shields them. In this case, it's like the Sharks just rolled straight into the closed door. That's what that felt like. It was too little too late. I got a little excited for a moment there, like it's a 1-goal game. Maybe, but I mean, completing that comeback, you can call it a teaser, or you can just point out the fact that it's hard to make that comeback. Like, you can make a 2-goal comeback, even a 3-goal comeback, a 4-goal comeback. That only happens against the Kings. Shout out to 2011. But I mean,
as Hackle just mentioned that
comeback, but that's why you got to not dig that hole for yourself in the first place. And that's really kind of what it came down to, is they needed to play better sooner. I don't think they were all bad early. Just like I said, they weren't controlling the game at all. They were letting Vegas control the flow of the game, and they couldn't sustain any real pressure, and they were letting Vegas put a lot of pressure on them, and bad things happen. Like the Sharks' margin for error in the series is not that high. Vegas seems to have a pretty wide margin for error because they can score more prolifically than the Sharks can. And as good as Jones has been, Fleury has been Superman. Like they have a lot more margin for error. They can give up more bad plays the other way. They can give up more goals, and they can score more too. That's the problem, is the Sharks don't have the level of firepower and the level of goaltending that the Knights do right now.
Yeah, and Fleury's been pretty impressive, but when the Sharks tend to get on him, it tends to rattle him more and more, don't you think? I mean, 3 goals, if there's anything the Sharks can take out of this, and really in the playoffs, there really isn't much moral victories that you can take. LeBanc, Hertl, Bodker, you get 3 goals in about little over 6 minutes. That kind of scares the Knights a little bit as they head back to San Jose for Game 6 on Sunday, right?
Yeah, and so just to throw the number out there, because we all know what it is roughly, 22% of the teams that go down 3-2 come back and win the series. Now, that's not a great number, but that's not the worst ever. And if you think about it, actually, statistically, your odds of coming up heads twice in a row when you flip a coin is about 25%. So 22, 25. It's not as out there as you think. Right now, the Sharks have to go win 1 game. They'll worry about Game 7 later. Go win 1 game because your season's on the line. Go win that one. Then worry about the next game after that. Because if you think about it, as you have to win 2 games, that's not the mentality. You have to take it one day at a time. And we've seen it. This team played 3 straight, where I would say they were the better team in 3 straight games. So they're fully well and capable of taking Game 6 in San Jose and then making it a Game 7 affair in Las Vegas. And at that point, anything can happen.
Yep. And even Vegas Golden Knights coverage, good game, Sharks fans. 3 goals made it a scarier end to the game. Respect to your team still fighting. Yep. You got to give that credit to them. And it won't be an easy task. And the tough part is that the Sharks have only done this once, where they have been forced to win a Game 6 to play a Game 7, and they've only done it once, and that was in 1995 against Calgary when they were down 3-2 in the series. Ironically enough, that was when the last time the Sharks had the worst their worst defeat in Sharks playoff history. So it's I mean, we can throw out all the cliches here, but it's must win. And
well, I mean, it's not a cliche at all, because it literally is must win. If you lose, your season's over. So it's
sure,
like that.
But I mean, how many times do you hear, okay, well, games, this is a must win for them. And for the Sharks, it is their kryptonite. Game 6 has been a kryptonite in the past. They've done well in some Game 6s, but they not necessarily have forced a Game 7 and won the series. Again, like I said, 95 was the last time they did it. They did beat LA in 2013 in Game 6 to force a Game 7. So it'll be very interesting to see how it shakes down on Sunday, and especially with a strange 4:30 start time. And I think that kind of is going to be an interesting thing, Chris, because I think from here on out they will have the weird start times for the rest of their playoff run, no matter how far they go.
Weird, or as I call it, excuse for day drinking.
Well, I mean, that's true before,
Not that I needed an excuse, but if it's officially sanctioned, then
right. True. Thanks.
Speaking of famous Sharks losses, I tweeted this out earlier, but this day in Sharks history, it was actually 10 years ago today that we had the famous quadruple OT game that I remember being in class the next day, and everyone was super tired because everyone had stayed up watching the Sharks go 4 OTs with the Dallas Stars to lose in Game 6 to end their season 10 years ago. And even if they lost, that was still a hell of a game, because, I mean, that was Niemi at his best. Who was that on the other end? Who was the other goaltender? I'm just blanking on his name right now. I'd know it the second I heard it.
God, Turco?
Yeah, it was Marty Turco. That's right. Yeah, it was Marty Turco. That's who it was. But this day in Sharks history, brought to you by Audible.
Oh God. Yes, Audible, our lonely sponsor.
Yes. That was a fun game. Anyways. So, I mean, I'm definitely a little bit down after watching this game, because, it was definitely not the pick me up. And I see definitely some people there saying we should bring in Jumbo. I don't think that's the right answer at all. I think the right answer is to keep the lineup the same, and bring back Game 4, bring back Game 3, bring back Game 2. What they did in those games, for the most part, game plan wise, and the way they drove play, that's how you beat Vegas. They know how to do it. Do that thing. Do that same thing. Just win the game.
Just do that hockey. Yeah.
Do that hockey thing you do.
And they know how to do that hockey, because they did it for 2 games at home. So there's that home ice advantage. So if you are going to Game 6, I would by all means make sure you get on their side. And even if they get down low, down early, you need to stay with this team, because we need to make it happen for sure.
And they're quite capable of overcoming a 1 or 2 goal deficit. I mean, they were done it in this series, so they've
done it all year. They've been down even 3 goals. Remember, they had that game against Winnipeg that they tied it when Jumbo got injured. For that matter, they've They've been down a couple of times against Anaheim. They came back and won that one. It's quite possible for them to send us to a game 7, and for that matter, they now know that they've been able to beat the Vegas Golden Knights on their home ice, so that's quite doable too.
And this is, make no mistake, I still don't buy this as a championship caliber team, but this is a pretty dang good Sharks team.
Yep.
And the Knights, though, I mean, tip of the cap to them. They're not a mirage. I mean, I think we'd settled this months ago, but they're no joke. That is a very, very good team, top to bottom. And I mean, we all have a stake in it, therefore we fell down after this. But this has largely been a very good series. This has been a series, two pretty dang good teams going at it. And I think the Sharks can definitely take this to 7 and maybe even win it. It's just, game 6 is everything. They have to show up big, and they have to take them down. And then game 7, really anything can happen in game 7.
Yeah, anything. To reiterate what I was talking about in regards to 24 years ago, the new team on the block, the Sharks, went up 3-2 after the series being tied 2-2 from Toronto in game 4. Game 5, the Sharks came back and got that, and everybody started to believe that, okay, maybe these Sharks are for real. And then next thing you know, the infamous Garpenlov crossbar, and that game goes into overtime, and then the Leafs win. They go send it to game 7, and then the Leafs win in 7. So it's quite doable, and the Sharks have seen it happen to themselves, and let's see if they can find the resiliency to have it happen to throw it back at the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's look in the chat here to see what you guys are talking about besides my my beard and the lack of a mustache. If you all,
I'll say this: did you start or stop shaving at the beginning of the playoffs? Because I don't know about that beard. That looks like you got a head start on me or something.
No, I last time I shaved, I think it was that Sunday. So the day after the regular season ended was the last time I shaved. So,
well, I guess my mustache is a little more legitimate, but
yeah, I don't. And to be honest, I know a lot of people give me shit about it, but it's like, I can't control it. I can't freaking control it. So it is what it is. But I'm part of this team, and I will be having it on, and hopefully till June. So nonetheless, let's see. What do we got in here? Laurel saying an excuse for day drinking games. Example: whenever a host says tonight instead of today, you can all drink. That's true. That's true. Let's see. Thank you for the compliment on the beard, at least. But oh well.
I see a fair amount of chatting there about Jumbo, yes or no. I mean, we said it before. I just don't know if I buy the idea that we should even have this debate until he's ready. But I don't think, unless he's really ready, we should not be panicking and inserting him in his lineup. He's not going to be the difference against Vegas. Vegas is too fast of a team for Jumbo to be the answer right now. I am a huge Jumbo fanboy. It's just I don't think it's the right time or place.
With that being said, a guy who's wearing a white Edge jersey is in the building, or in his building. AJ, evening, sir. Before you...
Somebody say day drinking?
Yeah, of course.
What up, white people?
What did you take from tonight?
I felt the Sharks played poorly. I mean, aside from game 1, worst game easily to me. And that's pretty much it. I felt like Vegas really controlled the neutral zone, turned the Sharks back at a lot of turns. they just could not get anything going. And there was a few times tonight, I'll be totally honest, where I was kind of asking myself, where's the top line tonight? Like, a couple times from Pavelski, there was a couple interesting things, but a couple times from Kane, not much from Donskoy. I just felt like, boy, this is a game that you really needed that top line to kind of exert themselves and, make it happen, Captain. And I don't know, you see DeBoer, he keeps rolling out to open faceoffs. He keeps rolling out that second line. So I don't know, but I'm still happy with Yoki Ryan's play. And of course, everybody at the watch party that I was at tonight were all talking about when it was 3-0, blah, 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 that, well, if it's an elimination game, which is looking like it's going to be, of course, Thornton is going to get in. I don't know that that's the case. And at this point, I don't know that he would make that significant of a difference. But that's just me.
Yeah, that just reeks too much of a panic move. Like, I think, you already have the right lineup right now. Yoki Ryan's not the problem. No one guy in this lineup is the problem. The problem is just it's execution. You need to be able to play faster. You need to control the neutral zone. You can't let Vegas get their speed going. When Vegas gets rolling, bad things happen. And Fleury, I mean, as good as Jones can be, Fleury has been ungodly good in this postseason.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh is kind of going, I wonder if we should have made that happen.
I mean, I believe Pittsburgh even bribed them specifically to take him. Like, please, take him, please. And then, that worked out pretty well for Vegas. So, I mean, we're not going to retouch on the whole, was the draft, the expansion draft fair? Or the rules, did they not suffer enough? I don't think we need to rehash that because we've been there, done that.
Okay. So quickly on the chat, let's try to adjust this a little bit. Alex saying, AJ, your mic is low. So I will try to attempt to fix that. And Rob making a great note. Damn it, AJ, didn't we already establish that you're not supposed to go to any watch parties? Because the last watch party I went to, of course, was the 7-0 drubbing. No, it's going to watch parties at San Pedro Square. Is that, from Maury, that is the kryptonite. This one was to a friend's house, and the last time I went to my friend's house for a watch party, I believe was game 2 versus Anaheim, and that worked out all right. So
no San Pedro Square on an even day
on a weekday, I think, probably.
When it's not raining
on a weekday
and you're wearing a white jersey. Those are
Well, this is. I mean, I brought this up before. This was belonged to a friend of mine that passed away,
right.
And I wore this at the last party. It was at the watch party with the same friends that I watched tonight. So, dude, I'm not even kidding you. I put all the superstitions to work. It was wearing my friend's jersey that worked last time, and then I told you last. I'm not even kidding. Hello, we revealed the teal.
AJ's flashing it. It's like his Girls Gone Wild or something.
Yes, we reveal the teal when it's a meaningful game, and the reveal the teal shirt all of a sudden has taken a little chink in the armor. I believe it was undefeated up into this point.
Rob Humphrey. I'm not repeating that one on air, but that's kind of funny. But Mike Nevis saying,
I gotta look for it. What are you talking about?
Mike Nevis saying,
wow, Rob, that's jacked up, dude.
Milpitas Tap Room Game 5 versus Edmonton lost no T. Or that would be. I assume that's IBU. I wasn't there for that. But I assume that was IBU. But I mean, like, I know the general vibe tonight, especially on Twitter, has been down, down, down. I'm really not. I'm not optimistic, but I'm not really feeling down about this. Like, I don't have any doubt in my mind. I think they could rail 2 straight off. I mean, after what we saw in the last couple games before tonight, they seem to know well and good how to beat Vegas. It's just, can they execute?
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely.
And can they beat Fleury? I mean, that's really the wild card right there. Is they can play stellar against Vegas, but if Fleury stands on his head, it's hard.
Yeah, and Fleury's been phenomenal, but like I said, I think there was, to steal Kevin Lacey's thought from Game 4, a chink in the armor in the third period, because I thought, now the shutout went away, all of a sudden there were two goals, and I hope that's a little bit of a momentum swing for the Sharks in that case. So we'll see what happens on Sunday.
I think part of that also comes to the fact that Vegas was kind of sitting on a lead.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely, and I would say I would definitely agree with that. That the whole I don't put too much stock in late game rallies unless they're completed, because a team with a large lead tends to sit on it every when you go the Sharks sit on leads, every team sits.
Chris, also go ahead, AJ.
I was just saying, but the really funny thing is that like right around the 10-minute mark, I looked at a friend of mine at the party and I said, this is totally doable. We just have to score one goal every 2.5 minutes. And then about 30 seconds later, boom, Sharks scored. And I said, okay, there you go. So now they've got like another like 340 to score another. And then what was it? It was like 2 minutes later, they scored another one. And all of a sudden people at the party started staring at me funny. And then when they put that third goal, and then they announced that they're like 3 goals in 6.5 minutes, and I was like, see, and I said 3 in 7.5 minutes. Now they have extra time,
you're like thumping your chest on that one.
Yeah.
But just for the record, Rob Humphrey apologized in the chat. He didn't hear part of what you had said leading into that, so he's not he was not trying to be that.
I did not take
that's
that.
That's part of the reason why I did not read that on air, because I figured maybe he had missed that part.
I did not take
I have
that.
a dark sense of humor, but even I wouldn't say that if I had heard.
I have zero, dude. I have no issues with what he said. I thought it was a good joke, and in fact, my friend who passed, he would have thought it was a good joke. So, Laurel, I don't know that you needed to delete those. I thought those were meant with the best of intentions.
A little bit of that morbid humor,
But I don't know if you noticed the next comment after Rob Humphrey's comment. Mike Nevis in the chat: if the Sharks come back and win this series, I will pay for a ticket for the Western Conference final game of your choice for Chris.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Sounds good to me. I mean,
so
I say I'm not overly optimistic about this one, but hey, I'll take you up on the offer, and that's all right. I'm like, because I'm not the one saying that like it's all fine and dandy. I'm just saying it ain't over. Like, it's not over by a long shot. Like, if this is a 3-1 series, I'd say this is effectively over, because that's a near impossible. That's not an impossible comeback, but that's a near impossible one. And something I got into on Twitter a little bit tonight about kind of the extreme ends of the spectrum. Like, the people that annoy me during a blowout, there are the fuck everything, this team sucks, I'm done with this team, and
put $1 in the jar.
Yeah, they're back a game later as soon as the adversity passes. And then there's the other end of the thing, the purity testers of like, I am the most perfect fan, and if you so much as ever rooted for another team, or the types. Like, I'm not a purity tester. I'm just like, to me, the suffering is part of the fandom. Like, the wins are not nearly as enjoyable without the losses, because you need something to contrast against. When the Sharks win that damn cup finally, it's going to be a hell of a day, and we're going to be talking about every time we suffered and everything that led up to that, and that's what will make it so awesome. That's my take on it. I'm not trying to purity test anyone. I'm just going to say that if you're saying screw this team, I'm done with it, you might want to follow through on that, or maybe be a little less reactionary.
But yeah, I would agree with that. It's funny you bring that up, because I remember, I think it might have been during the 15-16 season, actually posting an article on what was then Pucknology, but of course now Teal Town USA, about the whole thing of, you're not a real fan if. And that was the whole thing. It's remember at one point, there was a point during the 15-16 season where the Sharks in the middle of that season went through a really bad stretch. And a friend of ours from the show, Gen X, put together a graphic, and he's in the chat right now, but a friend of ours put together a graphic that said that they redid one of the banners that was hanging in SAP, and they just made it a white banner, and they were just like 2015-16, we give up. And I thought that was hysterical, because obviously you're not giving up after game 38 or whatever it was. And I posted that in the Sharks Facebook fan page thinking that this is an obvious joke. And of course, what happened? Half of the people on there were just, you're not a real fan if you made that or if you posted that or whatever. And I'm like, dudes, like, consider, like, some people, like, they're just poking fun at a little bit of downtime that the Sharks have had. You know, it's kind of like, you know, if you really want to sit there and go, you're not a real fan, if you want to throw that BS card out there, dude, I got receipts, man, that I'll put up against yours any day of the goddamn week when it comes to fandom. So I just thought it was silly. It's just kind of like the final analysis at the end of the day, all the cliche terms, we're all rooting for laundry, and poking a little fun at things can make the losses a little easier to take and make those hardships a little easier to deal with. So, you know, get a sense of humor once in a while.
It's cathartic.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get the frustration out. Sometimes you need to get the frustration at the whole year. Like I said, I poke at both ends of the spectrum a little bit. The three wins to fans, and then the most reactions. I poke at both ends because, like, calm the hell down, both of you.
Yeah, when they rip off 5 wins in a row, it's here we come. They lose 2 in a row, and it's like, oh my god, this team sucks. They're never going to win another game.
What do you mean if they lose 2 in a row? You mean if they go down 2-0 after winning 5 in a row? Be like, well, this team just gave up. They didn't show up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know how that goes. But yeah, let's not go too far down this rabbit hole. But it was a thing that was happening on Twitter a little bit there. You know, I know Mike. I love you, Mike. I was giving Mike a hard time, but you know,
it's after every game you see that. Even Chester Chivo, huge friend of the show and Photoshop extraordinaire, Chester Chivo. He's pulled the ripcord a couple times over this series.
Well, you know, that's hockey, though. It's like it's got the highs and the lows and all that. And Alex Martinet in the chat, breaking news, Chris pokes both ways. Indeed, I do, Alex. Indeed, I do.
Nope. And as soon as I mentioned that banner that Gen X put together, like, you know, 2.5 years ago or whatever, he, of course, hits me on Twitter and says, oh, you mean this banner? And it hits me up again.
Well, I mean, you know, we've made a lot of jokes about the banners over the years, whether, you know, and they go all kinds of different directions, whether it's, you know, the we give up or it's the Rodker scored a goal.
Torres gets 41 games.
Yeah, you know, just we've made banners for everything because it's kind of a running joke on the show that we make mock banners, but it's part of the whole inside joke and the fun of it.
But why did that start? And I'll tell you this right now. The reason why I believe the whole mocking of the banner thing started is because guys like us thought that it was really silly to have these banners up that said, you know, Western Conference champions, and then buried in between in little top font said regular season. And it was like, that was so, it's like, no. You only get a Western Conference champion banner if you represented them in the Stanley Cup final. That's the only way you get one of those. You don't sledgehammer in regular season. You know, Western Conference champions, regular season. You know?
Yeah, I don't like regular season banners, honestly, for anything. Like, I'm fully down with the, hey, you won your conference. That's not nothing at all. And I don't even mind a President's Trophy banner, but call it President's Trophy. Don't call it regular season champions. I just don't like that.
Eric, are you still playing, or have you already started to bake a pie?
No, I was just letting you guys have your
have our fun.
Your chat. You know, just
Eric's just letting us run rampant.
Well, Mike Nevis' new banner. Kuda sold 20,000 hot dogs this season banner.
Yeah, so yeah, actually, just for a fun little game chat, give us your best banners. What banners, and make us laugh here. We need a pick me up tonight.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Banner contest.
Yeah,
if you win, you win. Yeah, that's all you get.
You get bragging rights until we do something else that's silly.
Well, and now the chat is preserved show to show. You can say, hey, that was me who did that. You can go look at the timestamp and the chat will show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Final stats on tonight. Golden Knights outshot the Sharks 39-30. The faceoffs were virtually even. The Knights had just a little bit of edge on there. But looking in the face-off department for that, Pavelski 35, Tierney 42. Tough night for Tierney and Pavelski in the face-off circle. Marchessault and Holla were the only two that were below 50 for the Knights. Both teams were 1 for 4 in the power play. Pims were about the same.
Well, and how many times did Hurdle get bounced from the circle tonight?
He's breaking out his inner Joe Thornton. Hits 53 to 35. Blocks 24 to 18 in favor of the Knights. Giveaways also 15 to 7 in favor of the Knights. Overall, Sharks, kudos to them making a comeback, but not good enough. Your 3 stars of the game were Alex Tuck, number 1, David Perron, number 2, who's been under the edge of the Sharks players all series long, and AJ's favorite player was the 3rd star of this game.
Holla.
If my lower thirds were working tonight, I would have posted that, but it happened.
So a few things from the chat. First of all, Nick Neff Tebbett's Puck Guy's fake beard is falling off, exposing his real one, so he'll be back shortly.
I think we could have went with like Mike Brown, most cowbell, 2015, 2016.
And then a That's So Sharks banner, a Hurdle draws the most hook and calls banner, a Where in the World is Marty McSorley banner, the most Bears poked banner.
I like Marty McSorley. Like there should be a banner that says like Marty McSorley, least amount of games called in Sharks like broadcast history.
Party Too Hard in Vegas banner. That'd be the Vegas Flu banner.
Yeah.
Vegas Flu champs. I guess that would be for the team that actually beats Vegas in the playoffs. Get the Vegas Flu champs banner. We can't win with Brody Brazil banner.
Vegas Flu antidote banner.
Dr. Jackal, Woogular season champs. Well done. That might be the winner right there. That's pretty strong.
So let's get to the brief version of the NHL wraparound.
Yeah, Tampa won in overtime. Good for you guys. Okay, moving on.
There you go.
Dude, I was so pissed, dude. I really, really wanted Boston to tie that series up.
So
were you licking your TV in hopes that they would tie it up?
No, dude, they're messing up my bracket, man.
No, actually, my bracket's good with that. Boston already screwed up my bracket. I picked Toronto to win this year, so whatever. Yeah. But so Brad Marchand he can't bite things, he can't lick things. Next, you'd be like dry humping someone's leg, and they'll ban that too. Or
Alexander Burrows is the biter. Be clear now.
Okay, I mix up all of these fake tough guys.
So Burrows enjoys the finger food.
And apparently Marchand likes popsicles. So to recap the series, Lightning are up 3-1 on Boston. Washington and Pittsburgh, that goes back tomorrow. That series is tied 2-2. Nashville and Winnipeg are tied 2-2. They play tomorrow, and then the Knights lead 3-2. That game will be Sunday at 4:30 on NBCSN. Again, that's 4:30 Pacific time on NBCSN.
Laurel saying the lick heard round the world. And then another banner suggestion, San Jose Sharks 2017-18, not yet to get licked by Marchand.
Do we have any guesses as to who may open the door on Sunday? I'm thinking right now I'm just going to go with like Mike Douglas or something, because he used to film Streets of San Francisco here 30, 45 years ago, whatever it was. I mean, it just seems like the Sharks. I mean, God love you guys for going with the Bay Area ties, but I mean, a lot of people were really going, who the hell is Aaron Gordon?
I think it's going to be a Steve Jobs hologram.
Tupac, bring Tupac back.
Yeah, Tupac and Steve Jobs.
I hope they have somebody that really can fire up the group in the building, because I just look at that whole thing. I'm just going, geez.
M Thirsty in the chat. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a wasted talent?
Ooh,
Chad is on point tonight.
Yeah. You know what? M Thirsty seems to be that's a new name that I don't remember seeing before. So dude,
welcome, sir.
Welcome and way to bring the salty.
Mike Nevis saying Sam Liccardo will open the door with AJ on Sunday.
No, he'll have the police do it. Oh wait, no. That means the door will just stay closed then.
Dude, like, not even kidding. I feel like it would have made more sense if I had opened the door over Aaron. What was the guy's name? Gibson or something?
Gordon.
And there you go.
Bill sent me YouTube clips of like he's pretty. I'm not denying he's not nobody, but I mean honestly, if you hadn't told me he's from the Bay Area, I wouldn't have known he's from the Bay Area. Like I honestly, I had never heard of him, and I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but I think even most basketball fans probably didn't know he was originally from here. Can we go with something stronger? We should go to Metallica, though, please. You know, Metallica rules.
Hetfield's already done it before, so I don't have a problem with that.
I think maybe they're trying to avoid anybody that's actually done it tonight.
Well, everyone loves Metallica. I mean, we had Metallica night for crying out loud.
Yeah, get Lars to do it. Shit, I would have taken Ed Belfour over Aaron Gordon.
Oh, for
I mean, it would have made more sense.
No,
hey, dude, would it have gotten a bigger reaction? Absolutely.
Yeah, here are your San Jose Sharks.
That or we need Metallica to do the national anthem again, because that's still one of my favorite ever national anthems. Is when they did it on guitar. That was sick.
Dude, I would love it if like Joe Satriani did it, or like Sammy Hagar. I mean, local boys.
Mike Nevis, Grandma Pavs. That's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah,
I would have no problem with that. I'd have
no
problem.
JR could, because he seemed to have no problem fraternizing in Vegas, but apparently he doesn't want to fraternize with anything Sharks.
Yeah. Right. Well,
Couture's mom.
Yeah.
Dude, Brody.
What about Couture's dentist?
Yeah, that really, who would have been made more sense opening the door over Aaron Gordon. See, I'm never going to remember his name. It would have made more sense to have that like big ass toothbrush that Dylan used in the commercial with Couture open the door.
I saw Dylan.
I mean, was that actually a problem? I always figured Couture brushed his teeth with that big of a toothbrush.
And my mom in the chat saying to Rob, JR, the players would slash at him as they pass him.
And I have no issue with
You'd
that.
have no ankles left.
You know what? There we go, M. Hackle. Maybe Randy Hahn.
That would be actually really good since he's not calling. Absolutely get Randy out there. That would be so cool. I am so down with that idea.
Mike saying Sonia. I like that one. Yeah, that's a great one.
Without beating the door discussion again, two games straight. Because I know we did a good 15 minutes, and I feel like there's one comment from the last show where someone was like, who watched it afterwards.
Like the rabbit hole went too long.
I watched that for 15 minutes, and I still don't know who Aaron Gordon is.
That was a great comment.
So we have a couple in the news items, whatever you want to call them, off the post or empty netters or whatever we want to call the odds and ends here. But for one, I think the first thing we should touch on is AJ's interview with Drew Menda got picked up by our friend David Staples at the Edmonton Journal. He did a write up on that. He sounded like he listened to the whole thing. He summarized several of Drew's comments. His headline is a little bit clickbaity. He went for the most inflammatory thing he could find in that whole interview of Edmonton fans hate me. But it was actually the actual article is pretty good summary, and he may not even written the headline, because I know I found this thing I found out talking to journalists is they don't even write their own headlines half the time. Whatever paper it is, they write the headline because they want something that'll get people to click, and it's kind of stupid. But it was a pretty interesting summary. It got a lot of Edmonton fans going, and if you want a good time, just go find David Staples' tweets and look at the Edmonton fans' reactions, because there are some classics there. My favorite was like Drew Menda's not on Twitter. If he's a real man, he'd like face his critics on Twitter.
Well, there was that. There was also some great comments in the comment section on the Edmonton Journal itself. So that, thank you so much, Dave, for to quote Drew Menda, Thanks for listening.
Dave's a good guy. I think if you all remember, we had him on here about a year and a half. Yeah, actually not even a year and a half ago.
Year.
About a year ago, actually, almost. Maybe a little over a year ago. I did a bit with him. Really good guy. I go back and forth with him on Twitter a bit. He's a very friendly guy. I don't know if he wrote the headline or not because that was pretty. Like I said, it was kind of clickbaity, but I thought the article was good. I mean, because it gave a summary of a lot of things that he said, and he agreed with some, he disagreed with some. He said this is interesting, so it was really good. And again, right now I think is our most listened to single piece of audio of all time on this on everything we've done.
And for those who don't subscribe to the SoundCloud, that's just wrong. But for those who don't, we made it available on YouTube. So there you go, Eric.
Yeah, listen to the Drew Remenda interview, because if you haven't listened to it already, you should listen to it. It's very good, and not just because we did it. It's really good.
I'm disappointed he didn't even make a comment about whether or not he was still a stem muffin and a half in the Edmonton Journal. I mean, come on, guys.
Seriously. How do you not pull that quote?
I know, right?
And the thing is that once it was all over and we had hung up the call, the thing that really got to me is about 10, 15 minutes later, whatever it was, there was one particular question that popped into my head, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't ask that. So the next time we get the opportunity, that is like question numero uno. So look forward to that. I'm going to reach out to Drew. Hopefully, maybe we can make something happen once the Sharks have played their final game of the season, and hopefully that occurs in June and not like this weekend.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And that was, that was a good interview. There will be more. And if you don't follow our SoundCloud, you should, because that's not the only, this one is one we actually decided to cross post to YouTube because it was getting so much reaction. But that is one of many. We do a lot of audio only interviews, and of course the Pucknologists. If you aren't subscribed to us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, any of those, you really should. And if you're not subscribed here, well, what the hell are you doing here?
Right. SoundCloud too.
Yeah,
all the platforms. And sign up for every single one of them and follow us. Damn it.
Yeah.
If you aren't, shame on you.
Yeah. So Chris, I just wanted to ask you, between now and like say, I don't know, 10 years from now, like 2028, is there going to be anywhere to park near SAP Center between Google and BART?
Yeah, so that's something we should also touch on here on our little kind of Sharks news roundup. So I think most everyone heard the Sharks filed a suit. BART and the VTA came to an agreement of how they're going to extend BART all the way into downtown San Jose. I believe it'll end at Dearborn. I think that's the last plan I heard. But the Sharks put a lawsuit in there, and some people are indifferent to it, and some people are reacting like, "What the hell are the Sharks doing?" I honestly, based on everything I've read, I think it's much ado about nothing. It's mostly the Sharks just saying, hey, make sure you're considering our interests as far as parking goes, because that's going to cause shutdown of lanes. It's going to cause things to get cut off and parking lots to be unavailable at times. I think it's much ado about nothing. It's probably just a way to get the VTA to appease them and make sure that their interests are looked out for. And also it's probably because they have partners, they have things that do concerts and other things, Tony Robbins and all that stuff at the venue. I cannot believe how, I swear.
Dude, I would have went with like Disney on Ice or like, Katy Perry, but you're going to call that out?
No, actually I call that out because apparently like a month or two ago when he was there, like it was standing room only and the cheapest tickets were going for like 800. So apparently that guy makes bank somehow. Like I one of the times like I was in the park that Sunday morning when he was speaking there, and just the sheer amounts of people flocking that. So apparently that's a big moneymaker.
There's no lack of people. Yeah, I mean, going to any Barnes & Noble or Borders or whoever the hell sells actual physical books now, there is no lack of multiple rows of self-help books. Hold on. Laurel asking me if I saw Nick's suggestion, which is, AJ, you should do a few minutes of a YouTube video reading some of the tweets, which could be fun. It's
that would be fun.
Like doing the whole like AJ reads mean Drew Remenda tweets towards Dave Staples.
Maybe
could be
put
funny.
that one on the Facebook. So if you haven't liked our Facebook, go like it. If we gain 25 likes in the next 24 hours, AJ will do it.
There you go.
I'm promising AJ's time right now. Just to wrap that up real quick though, but between the Sharks' own interests of just making sure that they don't suffer because of it, because if they don't have a seat at the table, that's a big deal. But also anyone that they've booked in the venue potentially could, depending on contracts, might be able to hold them legally liable, saying, "Hey, wait a minute, around the venue is unacceptable.
Well,
why didn't you tell me about this?" And therefore try to hold the Sharks responsible. So if they do their due diligence, they can defend themselves and say, "Hey, we tried to deal with this. That's part of it too."
Let me float this idea.
Sure.
Now, if you've looked on the Mercury News page that diagrammed the map of the city where Google is buying up properties kind of sporadically around SAP, what about this idea that maybe if Sharks, sports and entertainment, that whole conglomeration, what if they worked with Google and said, "Hey, you guys have already purchased this land and that land, and this land is my land, and as you can see from the graphic that Puck Guy is sharing, there are some pieces that have already been purchased. Maybe the Sharks, Silicon Valley Sports and Entertainment, or whatever it's called now, they work with Google and say, hey, you know what? You guys want real estate and you want it to all be around here. What if we work with you on a piece of property that you've already purchased and we start building a new arena? And then once that's done, we scrape SAP, and then you can build a nice new office complex there, or something that you do something that you actually work with Google to make the whole thing work, where everybody gets new buildings, but you don't completely relocate SAP or whatever the new venue is, but you don't relocate the hockey arena very far away from where it currently is, because obviously the location has been working for 27 years.
So what you're suggesting is that the Sharks stop, collaborate, and listen.
Oh, my Lord. Wow. Okay, good pull, bro. Good pro. You know what? Right there, like, that needs to be a banner. Like that moment when Chris went Vanilla Ice 2018.
Yeah, that's a banner. So I looked at the Facebook page. We're at 350 likes. If we get to 375 by this time tomorrow, AJ will read mean tweets, or whatever we want to call it. Yes. He will read funny comments and tweets on Facebook.
Yeah, make it happen. Tap me.
Go like it.
And just to add on to it, the downtown, or the Diridon or arena station, is supposed to be completed in 2026.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying. About 10 years from now.
Yeah, you're looking at
really interesting. Yeah,
so in that time, even before then, I think it's going to be quite interesting to see. I forget, did Mr. Becker talk about about where it's supposed to go? Isn't it supposed to go through Santa Clara Street, for that matter?
Yeah, yes. It's going to go right under Santa Clara Street. So real quick in the chat, Gen X, Hasso's on a mission, Sharks ice, baby.
Oh, dear Lord. No, they're supposed to. In fact, there was a lot of talk about that tunneling under Santa Clara Street all the way down to the tank. Were they going to do a single bore, or were they going to do two separate bores? So,
so that's going to disrupt a lot of business on that street. It's going to be interesting. A lot of it's already reliant on foot traffic, anyways. You don't drive around there very much.
Well, the thing is, though, is like, if you're familiar with downtown San Jose, and especially that part, it's going to be coming in basically under 101 and starting right at 101 in Santa Clara Street. Well, pardon me for calling out stuff that just actually is, but between 101 and, I don't know, about 4th Street, you're talking like a solid almost 30 blocks.
Yeah, that's a good 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's the case of there's a lot of nothing. I mean, there's okay, there's there's like a McDonald's and there's a 7-Eleven and there's a church and blah 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 blah. But there's also like what looks to be a bombed out single theater, movie. Excuse me, my bad. But a single screen movie theater that has been like boarded up for literally decades, and San Jose hasn't done anything to like help that out. And geez, Louise,
it's been boarded up for decades, but I guarantee you that sucker sells for millions.
It probably will. But the whole thing is like find someone to buy it. There's a really crappy furniture store like on the corner of 3rd in Santa Clara. I mean, like
Isn't
literally.
Dude,
it's been there forever. I'm just saying, but at least Tunes on the corner of 2nd and Santa Clara is going to be a barcade. The brand new thing where it's like, hey, what if we put like old school retro 80s, 90s video games and served cocktails? Wouldn't that be interesting? Okay, so they're going to put that there. So it just comes down to, that whole idea of trying to make downtown San Jose this more kind of New York City urban sprawl vibe. I get that, but just like, let's call it what it is. Downtown San Jose is a friggin' cesspool. If you're walking down Santa Clara Street, once you hit City Hall, if you continue on towards 101, it just continues to decline every block. So
if you think downtown San Jose is bad, have you ever walked around San Francisco? I mean,
I totally get right? That. But, San Francisco is a bit more pedestrian, a bit more of an urban sprawl versus, downtown San Jose. I'm just saying, like, there's this whole push where they've got the motorized scooters and the rented bicycles, and they're getting rid of it seems like they're getting rid of parking at every opportunity, where they just want to make it more and more difficult for vehicle traffic to get around downtown. And it's kind of, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine. But if you're going to do that, you can't have blocks and blocks of nothing, or, crappy looking, shady looking businesses for that part. Like, the whole idea of like having pedestrian traffic in downtown is job one is make people feel safe. And right now there are some sketchy parts of downtown that are actually fairly close to SAP Center. So, work on fixing that. But again, I just go back to my original thing was, I think it would really behoove the Sharks to try to work with Google and maybe make the idea of, we're going to put the tank, maybe, we're going to build something new and it's just going to be a block or two more towards 280 or something. And we'll take this big block of land that you've already purchased and we can start construction on a new arena, and then we can demolish SAP, and then you can have some bright and shiny office tower there, Google.
This rant brought to you by Google for all your search engine needs.
I'm just saying.
I get, them, I get the whole point of having
work with them, not against them.
Yeah, you work with them, not against them. But Google and the city and BART need to make sure that they take care of who's already there. Now, granted, and I think I had this talk with you earlier today, Chris, is that the Shark Tank is owned by the city.
Yes.
That's their land. So technically speaking, they can probably do whatever they want. However, the Sharks are going to have an issue because that's revenue lost. And for that matter,
the city's going to have an issue because that's revenue lost.
Well, that too. And the other part is where are you going to replace those parking spots? Because let's be honest here, it's already tight for parking in downtown San Jose. Now, I get what they're trying to get that. Well, you come and take BART and such. Well, BART's not coming for 8 years here. So in the meantime, it's going to be a nightmare where you basically lose parking spots and you also lose, transportation. Because for me, like, and I think Davalos mentioned it earlier today, if you make BART available for me, sure, I'll take BART from Concord to San Jose for sure. Otherwise, I would be ending up having to take like Amtrak all the way down from Martinez, or freaking get on BART and then get into like Daly City or whatever, and or right by AT&T Park and then drive down. So it'll be interesting to see where everything is at.
Take the, the 181 down from Fremont. That one actually goes direct down to San Jose, if you didn't know that.
Hey, I'm just waiting until I build my own like personal drone that will just take me over there personally and just be right off. But God loves Sam Liccardo. He's doing one of the worst jobs I've ever seen, but God love him trying to do what he does with San Jose and building more bike lanes and forcing road diets on what were perfectly fine streets. So, if you want to keep doing this, fine, but there is always going to be that subsection of people that do not like being on the schedule of public transit. They like to be able to leave their house when they want to, take their vehicle, park it. If they want to leave the game earlier, if they want to do other things, they're going to take their own personal vehicle, and all the rented bikes and scooters is not going to stop that. You are still going to need a decent amount of parking spots. We
have a Gen X in the chat saying, "Welcome to GPS Talk." We should get him a little soundbite from saying that. So,
you know what? To destination. To quote Drew Remenda, "Hey, Gen X, looks pretty fucking easy from down there, doesn't it?"
Well, one kind of final thought on this, and I said this on Twitter, is that the thing about lawsuits is they are the language of business, so to speak. Like anytime there's billions of dollars involved in anything, even if there's millions, billions, whatever, the way that companies talk is through the legal system, because everyone's making sure they're getting their piece of the pie. I don't think the Sharks lawsuit means a whole lot of anything other than make sure our interests are considered. It'll be considered. It'll be dropped. Things will move on. Lawsuits like this happen all the time with small little company Y or medium-sized company Z. No one knows who they are or what they are, because it doesn't make the news when it's just some random little company. It makes news when it's Google. It makes the news when it's the Sharks. It makes the news. That's just how it is. So I honestly think it's kind of a non-story.
How long was that deal that Hasso signed with the city, Eric?
It's for 10 years, and then it goes year to year after that.
Yeah. So it'll be real interesting. Let's just say it's going to be really interesting to see what life looks like in downtown San Jose in relation to the Sharks part and Google about the mid-20s. And with that,
we have just lost the other Eric, because your thing is showing up as Eric for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, that was odd. Okay, well, Eric
has still signed into his account apparently.
I don't know how that happened. So Eric's final thought is he left. He's gone. And you can find him at PuckGuy14 on Instagram, on Twitter, and he's back.
Yeah. So we're just wrapping up with final thoughts here, Eric. Let you go first, and then we'll go around, and then we'll wrap it up here.
My final thoughts is we've been here before, and we'll be here again for years.
This ends. Sorry. Couldn't resist.
Apparently, Chris already knows how this ends. So, coming up, spoiler alert with Chris JWS. We've been here before, and we've seen where this team can be and is what capable of. Now they need to show it at least one more time on Sunday. Debating whether or not I should go. I've been to every postseason game so far this season. So I would say my record is pretty decent. We'll see about that. Unfortunately, it's do or die. Winner keeps going. Winner forces a game 7. I'm not worried about this team coming back home for game 6. I think this team is ready and willing, and hopefully they have their focus back on. If they turn into the Ducks and their shenaniganery, then I think that they're going to, go home and then have that So Sharks hashtag. They're going to have everybody ignore them again, or you can put your big boy pants on, get your crap together, and go out and kick some butt and force a game 7 back in Vegas. Either way, you'll be celebrating in Vegas on Tuesday night if you force that game 6 or force that game 7. Nonetheless, game 6, you come out hard, you cheer for them hard, You know, we've been through a crap ton of stuff together, and I'm talking about many people way back in the day or the newbies. You know, we've dealt with some pain. We've always dealt with some pain, but we've always persevered. And with this team, we've seen them persevere this season more than anything else. Like, you know, I'll even mention again. Is
this a final thought or a pep talk for Game 6?
I think we need both. We need both, right?
Christ.
He's making up for us talking over him the whole show.
Holy shit! Yeah. I guess so.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no.
Oh, he's on a roll.
That's right. I am on a roll. Call me Cinnamon. All I'm saying is that, nonetheless, thank you. I'll be here all week. Come on out, kick some ass, and then we'll see you on Tuesday night. I'm at PuckGuy14 on Twitter and Instagram, providing what I feel on there and doing a boatload of stuff for Teal Town USA.
All right. My final thought, just win the game. It's Game 6. Just go out there and win it. AJ_strong on Twitter, on Instagram. Also doing some gramming on Teal Town USA. Go follow that. Again, do yourselves a favor. We do a lot of audio-only stuff, so find that on SoundCloud and subscribe. And there you go. Chris, wrap this up, because if you did not know, there is a Twitter account, and I don't want to mislead you, so let me bring it up really quickly. It is, I want to say PCA Live, but let me make sure that I give you the
police chase.
Correct. Hold on. This is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So yes, at PCA Live, they tweet out police chases, and there's a police chase right now in Downey. I believe that's Southern California. Yeah, CBS LA. There's a police chase right now of this red car that is just going like a madman. So let's wrap it up so I can like go full screen with this police chase, because this guy's going to kill somebody.
Okay, from it there, I thought you were trying to say, is that near you? Because that's Downey's about 90 minutes north of me. But yeah, my final thought is pretty much what I've been saying is it might be over, but it's not over. The Sharks have a chance to live and fight one more day, maybe 2 more days. They can win the series. It's not insurmountable odds. Just have to win one and then have to win another. So a couple little plugs here. First of all, I am on Twitter at ChrisJWS. Second, I will be on the Vegas Hockey podcast tomorrow morning. They are on Blog Talk Radio. If you Google it, you can find it on there. That's the Vegas Hockey podcast. I'll be doing a 15-minute segment on there talking about the game tonight, talking about the series so far.
I was hoping sin bin, bro.
Yeah, I was hoping I would be in a little better mood tomorrow. I might be a little grumpy, but no, I'll keep it 100. I'll say what I think, but yeah, I'll be on there, so check that out. And of course, there will be more content as always from Teal Town. I have someone on the line for a few things. I have a few interviews maybe lined up. We'll see. Hopefully that'll probably be audio only, so check those things out. And with all that, I will hand it off to Eric to close us out.
Well, just a quick quote for Gen X, because I know he loves it. They took the bar. The whole fucking bar.
Swear jar.
There you go. Well, oh, he's running. The dude's running in the police chase. He's running. He exited the vehicle. He's leaving.
Okay, Eric, wrap us up. Take us home.
Keep it real. Keep it Teal. Keep it real, Teal. Have a good night, everyone.